Today on The Social. 36% of Albertans want the province to leave Canada. How seriously should we be taking these calls for separatism? And should children be seen, not heard? Why some people think schoolyard sounds should be considered noise pollution. Then, Tahini, baby, a celebration of veg-forward Middle Eastern and Mediterranean recipes to liven up your table. From TV personality and cookbook author Eden Grinshpan. Plus, whether you're into history, culture, or cheese, we've got a festival for that. A short list of hot spots from coast to coast. It all starts now on The Social.
Welcome to The Social. Happy Monday. That's where you go, yay. And it is International Nurses Day. And I would like to say a huge shout out. It kicks off Nurses Week. We are absolutely indebted to nurses across this country, up, down, and sideways. Any nurses in the house today? Yay! Yes. So a shout out to all the nurses who are here and across the country watching. Thank you. She's back, journalist Farah Nasser, sitting right next to me. Farah Nasser back. Okay, who's ready to kick off the show? All right. If you've been watching the news at all, you probably heard a little bit or a lot of talk about Alberta wanting to separate lately. Have you heard about this? New polling suggests that most Albertans have little appetite to actually leave Canada. 36% saying they want to separate. That's according to Angus Reid. And yet, Premier Danielle Smith has now made it a little bit easier to trigger a referendum asking that very question. So what do you make of all of this growing separatist discourse in Alberta? Is it all talk, and what do we feel? Alberta, we love you for the record. What do we think? What do you think?
You know, I know this might be not popular to say in this room, but this is not just a few grumpy voices in the back room. This is a chunk of the Alberta population, right? And I think we have to understand why they're feeling this way. They don't feel like their voices matter. Think about this recent election, right? By the time we got to Alberta, the election was essentially decided, right? So they feel like their opinion, their voices don't matter. They also feel like their livelihood, which is oil, which is the flashpoint in all of this, right, is not taken seriously in the sense that the infrastructure isn't there to support the export of oil. So they feel like they're being left behind. The decisions in Ottawa are not reflective of what they see. And so I think whether you agree with them or not, I think we have to listen to them. We have to listen to their frustration. I think it's really important.
So but you want them to separate?
Of course I don't.
No.
Of course I don't want them to separate. But I also don't want to dismiss how they feel. I know it's easy to be like, oh, they're just, you know, but I think we have to listen to them.
Yeah.
We've seen history tell us that, you know.
We definitely don't want to dismiss, but don't you think the timing of this reignited debate is very interesting? Because this conversation wasn't happening in December when Danielle Smith felt very confident that Pierre Poilievre was going to win the election. And now just a couple weeks after Mark Carney wins, now we're having this debate again. And perhaps it feels a little bit like you're a bit of a sore loser. You didn't get what you wanted, and now you're like, you know what, we want to leave. And that's how it comes off to me. I don't know anybody else, but it feels like that because they weren't having this discussion. Danielle wasn't talking this way in December.
But no, but this is a long time thing.
I know,
like,
it's been going on, but
years, decades, Alberta's been talking about it.
Exit as a thing has existed for
it has existed, but
thinking that it has been a thing in other provinces. If you think about Quebec, like I'm old enough to remember a couple of them, big ones in my lifetime. And the 95 one, it got so close. It was like 50 point something to 49 point something. They stayed, but you know, I wonder if the whole point of this, of Alberta sort of being like, hey, let's conduct some polls and see where we are, is to get to your point, to listen, because we're all kind of sitting up and being like, oh, okay, let's listen.
Is this a bit of a Trump playbook move?
I don't
Like,
know.
you know, Trump decided, I'm going to tariff the world and put everybody on our heels. We freaked out, and then it's a negotiating tactic to actually get people to listen.
I actually am surprised, hear me out, that it doesn't happen more often. Like across all, if you think about Canada, we are relatively speaking a young country, and we're a massive country, and we have multitudes of people who have always lived here, and we have multitudes of people who've come from every corner of the earth, and we live together in borders, and we have a nation, which are all sort of human constructs, and we generally get along. And that, to me, sort of blows my mind. Like, generally, this goes well. So the fact that, you know, once in a while, Quebec, Alberta, it doesn't go well. It's like, okay, that it makes sense to me.
I think the bigger problem and the reason, because why don't states want to separate? Why? Because that's a big country too, right?
Yeah.
Like the Midwest is very different from New York, for example. So why? For us, I think it's because we don't have a national identity like Americans do.
Interesting.
So we have all these different provinces. Like people are very different in Quebec than they are in Alberta, in BC. We're also different, but we need something to kind of unite.
Oh, I think it's been happening since a guy named Trump got into office.
I think Donald Trump did that for us back in January and got us all on the same page and our elbows up. I think that happened definitely. It was a total difference in our attitude towards
But I don't want to ignore Trump's influence in all of this because I think the timing, to your point, Andrea, is interesting because I think now is the best time ever for us to listen to Alberta because something called interprovincial trade is hopefully going to open up. They say by July the 1st, we're going to drop all of the nonsense so that we can easily do business with each other. So hopefully Premier Danielle Smith is going to get something that she does want, which is to not just get her oil out, but to get it across our country. You know, I mean, let's drop
Isn't that the conversation that she should be putting on the table?
But
feels like a
I think
conversation
we also cannot ignore people. Like, look what happened in the MAGA movement, right? People who were ignored, they don't just go away quietly. These movements become bigger and bigger and bigger. We have to also pay attention to this. And have some humility a little bit and say, look, okay, what are your concerns? How can we address them? Because we're one Canada, and right now, as you pointed out, it is more important than ever to not fight internally. We need to fight externally.
It's true. Let's move on, shall we?
Let's do it. Okay. All right. So, how pushy do you get when you don't get what you want? Okay. Tom Cruise revealed at a British film festival that he wouldn't have starred in Rain Man if his sister hadn't forced him to introduce himself to Dustin Hoffman at a restaurant. So the question is, how pushy do you need to be to get what you want?
What do you think, audience? Pushy, not pushy?
Pushy?
Okay.
Pushy?
All right, I think there's a fine line between pushy and obnoxious. And if you don't have a very high EQ, you'll get it wrong and it will backfire on you. That story about Tom Cruise and his sister is very cute, but I have a million stories of people who were too pushy and no one ever tells them to their face, but it is totally backfired, and there's so many doors that are now closed to them because of what they did. And I'll tell you something, this industry that we work in is very competitive, as we all know. And, you know, people do a lot of crazy things to kind of push their way into a job. And there was one particular reporter who wanted a job, and she found out that the person doing the hiring was getting married. So she came up with an idea, because she was very pushy, that she was going to show up at his wedding reception with her demo tape and resume and present it to him while he was sitting at the head table. Now, in her mind, she thought that that was a great move. Like, I'm going to stand out. But for everybody else, it was like, what were you thinking? So again, fine line between pushy and obnoxious, and if you don't know,
a fine line.
You'll ruin your own reputation. You'll ruin your own reputation.
Obvious line.
She did the opposite. I think, you know, I think for me that fine line is bringing value, right? If you can show the person that you bring value to them. So I'll give you an example. I didn't get into university. Yeah, so I didn't get into the university I wanted, and I was so confident and young, and I thought this university would accept me. It was TMU, formerly Ryerson, and it was the journalism program. I'd already been on TV, so I was like, they're gonna accept me, no problem. Yeah. So I, you know, and such a lesson in humility. I didn't get in, I was number 12th on the waiting list. And my parents, if I didn't get in, like this was my only way to get to university. Can you imagine? So what I did was every single day, I took the subway to Yonge and Dundas and I dropped off a new demo tape or a new new letter from Hazel McCalligan, bless her, letter of recommendation, or whatever I could get my hands on every single day that summer. And I was 12th, and I got in.
Oh my God!
And I ended up going to university.
You know what?
Right?
You just reminded me of
She
very
wore them
similar.
down.
You wore them down.
You wore them down, Farah, and here you are.
She won't stop coming. We have to let her in.
I applied to teachers college, and I was shocked that I didn't get in. And you know what I did? Nothing. It takes a whole bunch of different personalities to make this world go around.
Look at you sitting side by side. It all worked out in the end.
Okay. You know what? I mean, listen, I hate to always do this, but it does make me think that there's a gender component to this, because in this story, it was the sister who was pushing Tom. Like, Tom, you're Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Go introduce yourself to Dustin Hoffman, right? And he was like, no, no, no. And usually you hear it's women that, you know, we feel like we lack the confidence, or our self-assessment is like, you know, you hear this story all the time. Women not applying for the job because we don't think we have 100% of the qualifications.
Right.
But a guy will apply when he has like 50% of the
Not even
qualifications.
50. Not even 50.
There's a confidence.
No offense, gentlemen.
No offense, but there is a confidence gap. And I was surprised to hear this, because to me, I was like, well, what does Tom Cruise have to lose? This is called networking. The old boys club works because they network like this all the time. Ladies, I think we need to get confident, and we need to get comfortable with being a little pushy. Otherwise, no one ain't giving you anything for free.
But stay out
Don't
of
go
the
to
wedding
weddings.
reception.
Yes. Just don't go to the wedding reception.
Receptions, please.
That is a definite lesson here. We are helping people. We are helping people here today on the show. Let's take a break, everybody. Is it valid? We'll discuss this after the break. Is it valid to complain about kids being too noisy in playgrounds? Okay?
This one.
We're going to tell you a story. It's going to make your blood boil right after this. We'll be back.
Tomorrow on The Social, star of the new manga-inspired series Bet, Miku Martineau tells us about the high-stake challenges of tackling a project with a deeply devoted fan base. This week on The Social, tricks of the trade. Makeup artist Veronica Chu shows us how to do the perfect eyeliner for our eye shape.
All right. If you're yelling at your screen right now, stop doing that. Get busy on social media, and that's how you can get in on this conversation.
All right, let's dive into our next topic. If you live next to a school or playground, do you have a right to complain if it gets noisy? Okay.
What?
Amsterdam Sports Advisory Council says the sound of children frolicking in playgrounds during regular hours should not be considered a nuisance. What's wrong with people? So what's happening to the world that this is what we're complaining about? So where do you stand with this, ladies?
First of all, I love the word frolicking.
Yeah, that's a great word.
Let the children frolic.
I am so enraged by this story. It is making my blood boil, because if anybody knows anything about this generation, they have been coined the indoors generation.
Yeah.
They are stuck inside. If you read Jonathan Haidt's The Anxious Generation, he estimates that kids are indoors on screens 8 to 10 hours a day. Okay, that is called a full-time job. Okay, whatever it takes to get kids outside, moving their bodies and off screens and playing with other kids. Get off the kids' back. Let them make noise.
I totally agree.
Wait, I'm not defending.
Are you
I
sure?
know,
I'm really worried
I'm
where
not
this is gonna
defending.
go. Hot, Andrea.
I'm just saying that
Let's see.
they are probably in favor of those things.
Yes.
They just want them to do it a little quieter.
Okay, here's the thing.
Is that too? Is that?
No, it's kids and it's playing. I totally agree with Mel. That being said, is
Go
it
for it,
just
Jess.
me, or do kids today like cry a little more and a little louder? No, it's just me. Like when you're at a
your
playground,
ears change.
you're like you're at a playground. You're a kid. What's there to cry about?
They want screen time. That's what they're crying about.
They want their iPad.
Yeah, they want their iPads. You know what? I don't think it's unreasonable to ask for that piece. And it's funny because I'm a mom too, and part of this enrages me, but part of me is getting older, and some of the screaming is really driving me crazy.
I don't mind the screaming and the play. Like, as you say, that is like such a beautiful sound when you hear that. Kids playing.
Playing and laughing laughing and frolicking, yes.
laughing and
Yelling, maybe no.
Babies giggling is a very sweet noise.
crying.
Children shrieking in a schoolyard if you're having a bad day. Again, I'm gonna take it. And maybe, maybe we just turn it down a little bit.
Here's the thing, though. This is why, I hate to say this about Toronto, this is why we have a bad reputation. Because in some places, they have outlawed kids playing in the streets. We have lost the plot.
That's a problem.
You want to play ball hockey in the street? Play ball hockey in the street. This is why people look at Toronto and say, what is wrong with you people? Okay. Albertans are probably...
Yeah, that's exactly what Albertans are saying.
This is why they want to separate.
Yeah, they're like, you guys... Yeah.
This is it. No, they're letting their children play. The other part is, if you move in the vicinity, if the school and the playground was there first, and you buy the property, you got no right to complain.
You knew what you were in.
You got no right to complain.
But wait, but if the daycare comes after, do I get to write a nice little email?
Daycare's a little different because, you know, they're in and out, and actually they're inside a lot in daycares, I find, if they're even lucky to have
and
Not the one near my
daycare
house.
laugh is cute. Like, those are cute.
laugh is cute.
Yeah.
I like
it's
your
not like preteen.
You sound like a mom. It's cute, is it? We'll go with that.
Okay, let's change topic since I won that debate. The good folks at the Toronto Star looked into whether you need to put the toilet lid down while you're flushing. Turns out there wasn't much consensus among microbiologists, although one of them brought up the tricky issue of toilet plumage, a cloud of invisible droplets of punami, if you will. So what say you?
No,
Do you
that's
guys?
Did you just say punami?
No, I said punami.
That's not what we heard.
Wow,
That's not what I
you
heard,
said
but okay.
something else.
Yeah, I think you said something else.
I'm not born yesterday. I said punami.
Okay, we're gonna leave
Our
it there.
boss is like, stop saying it all together.
We're gonna leave it there.
So what say you? Toilet lid up and then flush, or toilet lid down and then flush? Down!
Has nobody heard of a courtesy flush?
What's a courtesy?
Oh,
flush?
I've heard of
I
that.
don't know what a courtesy, that's different though.
What
I
is
flush
that?
midway.
But that,
Yeah, but that's different.
But isn't that splashing onto your bits?
I'd rather it's flush on my bits than my toothbrush.
yeah, oh, fair.
Right?
Fair.
I don't know. I courtesy flush. I don't want it to stink in the washroom, so I do that. And then, you know, when there's a little bit left, I don't know. Am I the only one?
So
No,
much
midway through.
I fully support. I call it a mercy flush.
Okay.
Yes, have mercy. And no, but here's the thing: it's the poo sparkle, which you said another word. I call it poo sparkle, which is they say if you leave it up and then flush, that there is a poo sparkle. Sprinkle. You see, I'm trying to make it sound nicer than what it actually is.
Yeah.
And that's when they say it is going to land on things like your toothbrush,
it's
or
disgusting.
towels, or what have you.
Yeah.
But I will say I'm less concerned about that than like even walking outside and breathing the air that's on the street. I mean,
Well,
if
maybe
we're
that's
getting
what
real
the
serious,
microbiologists were like, you know,
thing
it's
to
like
worry about
of all
isn't it?
things.
As long as you're washing your hands, right? Like, as long as people are
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
The nurses are like, yes, please.
Nurses like wash your
Make sure
hands.
you're washing
Always
your
wash your
hands.
hands.
In my household I grew up, and we always had the lid down, but it wasn't about hygiene because we didn't know about the sprinkle yet.
Yeah.
It was about the decor. I'm gonna show my age. I don't know if you guys had the same situation in your bathrooms growing up. Do you remember having like a matching toilet
Carpet.
seat cover and the rug like this?
Yes.
Right? So the lid was always down because you had to show the matching set.
That's right.
And this one doesn't show, but sometimes it would also be a cover for the lid in the back, and then there would be a dolly in a big dress.
Yeah,
and
that's right,
where
like
you
this
had
one
the
here.
extra bit of toilet paper.
Right,
do
So
remember
it was always down because you had to show people how nice your bathroom was. And now, thinking about all that carpet material and all the sprinkle matter, it's disgusting.
Capturing it. It's like holding on to
It's
it.
holding on
Like
to
Velcro.
it.
You bring up something, isn't this a new phenomenon? Because I don't remember this existing growing up with the toilet seat down for the microbiology spraying and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I've picked it up recently. Like, so I can adapt quickly. And if you're at a person's place and they have their toilet seat down, I know, okay, this is the new thing. This is what I'm going to do. But I feel like I'm too far gone to start it at my own home. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
Too late to train.
you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Simon will be like, where am I living? Where am I?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And how long have the lids been around? Because I have actually seen many toilets that don't have any lids. So what is that about?
Really?
No, if you go to a public washroom, they don't have lids.
There's none in our
washroom.
Y'all went to our bathroom. There are no lids.
Sure.
No.
But in homes,
They need
there's
lids.
lids.
I will
They need
passive
lids.
aggressively slam every lid if they're left up. Just
Okay, have any of you, this just blew my mind about something. Have any of you been on a train in India? Has anybody gone to the washroom?
No.
Okay, let me just tell you how it works. So there's one of the compartments is a washroom compartment, and the toilet is basically a hole. So you hold on while the train is moving.
That is so cool.
And your stuff goes down to the people, they know. It goes down to the tracks.
To the tracks.
So you're not getting any because it's like a kilometer away by the time you're like, wiping. It's amazing.
That is incredible.
I don't know how I feel about that.
And you're not sitting on anything, which I love. That's why I love
you're standing and doing
some of the old Italian.
Does gravel come back up the hole? Like if they hit something on the track,
I
does it
don't
come
remember
up
gravel coming back up. I think I just did number one, but yeah, it was quite
This is a very enlightening segment.
Sorry, guys.
Maybe
Maybe this was a bit off topic.
And the moving train, I don't know where to go.
Fascinating.
That is a new bucket list for me.
Yeah.
Going on a train
in India.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that.
We are changing lives today. We are changing lives. Let's take another quick break, everybody. And then should you quit reading that bad book or stop watching that crappy TV show? Or should you just push through and finish the darn thing? Huh? What do we think?
No.
Okay, there's a debate on this. We're going to see where everybody lands.
Quitters.
Right after this. We'll be right back. For British Vogue, a writer argues that life is just far too short to finish that bad TV show. She says instead of viewing quitting as a failure, see it as your reminder that you can in fact exercise your free will. Should we be normalizing quitting things early? Yay or nay?
What do you guys think? Yay or nay? Yay?
Yeah,
I completely agree. No. I especially with television shows lately, you know, when they drop many episodes at one time, and you know, you'll give an hour of your life over to this. Maybe you'll give 2 hours of your life over to this, and then you quit because it's not good. And then you go into work the next day and everyone's like, no, you gotta stick with it. It gets really good at episode 45. And you're like, that's not good TV. If I have to spend 45 hours to wait till, you know, a character says something or does something.
But then I would have, listen, that was me with the latest season of The White Lotus.
But different, because they dropped one at a time.
Sure, they dropped one at a time, but
so then you're like,
it's
going to get better. It's going to get better.
I thought that nothing could compare to season 2. I thought nothing's going to compare to season 2. By the way, you can watch it on Crave.
Nice.
And then everybody started watching it, and everybody was talking about it. I missed a couple of weeks, and I was like, I don't know, I'm not into it. It did only hit for me like halfway through. I'm so glad I didn't quit it.
That's it.
Okay, I'm so glad because it's so good, you guys.
Listen, I get our time is valuable, but there's something to be said about perseverance. There's a real power in it, and there's a reward at the end sometimes. And you know what?
You're reaching here.
No. Most books.
Finishing your degree.
Listen,
let's hear her out.
Hear me out. Most books and TV shows, they get better as time goes on. Seinfeld is a very good example of this. The beginning of Seinfeld was not that good. And as it went on, Breaking Bad, another good example, White Lotus, another good. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time. You gotta respect the artist's work. This is why my husband and I can't watch shows together, because he's out so quick. He's like, oh, they jumped the shark, I'm done.
Yeah.
Okay, that's unrealistic. He literally will walk away and I'm like, hello?
Yeah, let's give it a chance. But what about books?
What about books?
Here's the whole point of books and TV shows is for enjoyment. So if you're not enjoying yourself, why are you continuing to watch this stupid show? Bail out of it. We have so many other options. It's not like back in the day where you had to like get up and go turn the knob, remember? I'm really aging myself on this show today. If you didn't like something, it's like now you can just be like, no, I'm just gonna head to another thing and I'll watch something else. I say it's even harder for people who are producing stuff. You've got 10 minutes to get me. And if I don't like it, I'm on to the next thing.
What is that doing to us though as a generation? What is that doing?
Have we become the TikTok generation?
Maybe.
10 seconds and you're out?
You know what, but for me, this started back in high school when I had all of those books in high school. I'm sorry, they were so boring. And I hated reading them. And I'm just like, but I had to because there was an assignment at the end. But what I would do, I'd be like, I'm just gonna skim through, read the Coles notes, and we're gonna write this essay and get an easy A. And now, as an adult where there's no assignment, I'm like, why would I put myself through this? There's no assignment, there's no payoff. Next show.
I have to say, for books, I find a little bit different because I will give, there's a grace period when I'm reading a book. I give it 50 to 75 pages, and then if I'm not loving it, I will check out. But there are times when let's say it's a book where I feel like it's a book I should read. Like To the Lighthouse, is that the name of Virginia Woolf?
Okay.
I've picked that up probably 3 or 4 or 5 times throughout my life and put it down.
Why
Like, this is dumb.
Why
What's
do you keep
everyone
picking it
talking
up?
about? I don't know, because it's kind of like that, like
Part
a
of the
book, like
canon.
Never
Do
Seen
it.
Citizen Kane or something. It's like, I
Because
wanna...
somebody told you that you should
it's
like
true.
it.
She's a sucker, but listen to the end.
Okay.
I picked it up last summer. I'm like, oh, one more time. It was at a cottage free book. And I was like, okay. And I couldn't stop reading it. So what I'm trying to say is sometimes our enjoyment of something has more to do with us than the book or the television or the film.
good point.
Like where you are in your life.
You're blaming the victim. Fine. 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 Victim of your bad art. Okay, fine. Blame me. I'll take it. Whatever.
Okay, we're gonna fix this up real good, because up next, Top Chef Canada host Grinshpan is here with recipes from her brand new cookbook. Let's cleanse the palate and come right back. We'll be back.
Get ready to stir things up. Our next guest is a chef, TV personality, and tahini lover who's turning sesame into a superstar.
She's here to whisk you away with bold flavors and veg-forward recipes in her new cookbook, Tahini Baby. Please welcome Canadian culinary queen, Grinshpan, back to the
Good to
show.
have you back.
Oh my God, I'm so happy to be here.
Can we gush over your book right off the top? So I love the title, Tahini Baby.
Tahini
Baby. It's all in the way you put the emphasis on it. So talk to us about this new cookbook.
So this is my second cookbook, obviously called Tahini Baby. Clearly, I have a thing for tahini baby, and it's a vegetarian cookbook, and it's really just to celebrate vegetables and put vegetables at the center of the table. And you know what? It's the perfect time of the year. Spring is here, so this is like this is the time to eat like this.
It's a very exciting time of the year.
Thank you. I know. Look at this. Look at the color, the bounty.
I'm
And
already holding my fork, so
she's ready to dig in.
Just wait, I want to ask a question, because what is it about tahini that makes you so passionate?
First of all, there's everything about tahini that makes me so passionate. I called this book Tahini Baby because tahini is really, it's a backbone ingredient to so many cuisines that absolutely inspire me. Obviously, this book is vegetarian. It's a great source of calcium and protein.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, and if we want to get all of those nutrients in when we eat, especially veg. And I love tahini. The second you make, there's a recipe in my book called the garlicky tahini. The second you make it and you serve it with your, recipes, there's no going back. Oh. It's like one of those things. It's a game changer. It's so flavorful. And I always say, when you mess it up, just throw tahini on it.
I love that.
It's like the answer.
I love that.
Just throw tahini on it and you'll be golden.
All right, so I'm holding my fork. I'm ready to dive in. Let's talk about the first one. Of course, we have to talk about something that has tahini in it. And this one is za'atar asparagus. Talk to us about this one as we dive in.
This one is actually so beautiful and loaded. Look at that. That's a complete meal on its own. We have za'atar roasted asparagus. Obviously, asparagus is in season right now. Za'atar is a beautiful spice blend of wild oregano, sumac, salt, and sesame seeds. So it's really earthy. I put it on a bed of freekeh with walnuts, dates. There's lots of texture. There's lots of flavor going on here. We top it off with a jammy egg, which is like always key. Look at that. Look, it's like just like calling your name. And then a tahini vinaigrette, which is also a really fun way to just show how versatile it is. Because truthfully, you can have it savory and sweet. Oh, wow. I throw it in sauces and I throw it in vinaigrettes.
You know what that makes me want to say? Tahini baby.
Tahini baby. Also, you have to shimmy. You got to shimmy when you say it. It just happens.
Can we go back to freekeh?
Yes.
Because I don't know what that is.
So it is a whole grain. It's really popular in Middle Eastern cuisine, and it is just earthy and nutty. It has beautiful texture. It is so fun to eat, and it's satisfying. And I love that too, because this book really celebrates grains, right? Grains, legumes, all the great things alongside with all these vegetables. And if you can't find it, you can substitute with bulgur, quinoa, rice. Honestly, any great grain you really have on hand and that you absolutely love to cook, you can throw it in.
I want to get that on hand. I like it.
Yes, it's great.
I want to talk about another one of your passions, which is preserved lemon. You love preserved lemon almost as much as you love tahini, or maybe as much.
I do.
Here's the thing. Is it really worth all the time I imagine it takes to make that.
Okay, hold on. I have something really exciting in this book.
Okay.
It's called My Cheat Preserved Lemons.
Go on.
Because, listen, I do love it. I'm obsessed with it. I use it in a lot of my recipes because it's one of those ingredients that really take your dish to another level. It makes it pop.
So it is worth it.
It makes it pop. So my cheat recipe, actually, you take the lemons and you actually simmer them. And I find that it tenderizes the actual rind.
Yeah.
It kind of opens it up, and then I throw salt on that and let it sit out for like an hour. Rinse it off. Use it the same way you would your preserved lemons. And
Or normal
you're golden.
lemons.
No. Yes, no. This is my cheat preserved lemon.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Cheat preserved lemon, because we use the rind and we're looking for that lemony, pickly, salty flavor.
Got you.
So this is my cheat version, but I also have a traditional-ish way that takes a little bit longer, but I promise you it is worth it.
Okay.
Okay.
It
Try
really
that too.
is.
Let's move on to the dish I've been eyeing since we sat down, the halloumi fries.
Yes!
Me eating.
Do you see these? Aren't they just
They're
so
gorgeous.
I
gorgeous?
see them.
Okay, so halloumi, I call it kind of like the cheese steak. It is so satisfying, and it has such a good bite, and it's salty and delicious. I bread that with a rosemary, like, infused panko, and then I fry more rosemary on top, finish it with some honey so you have that sweet and that salty, and the crunch, serve that with some white wine. Your friends will never leave.
This is
the most delicious thing ever. Okay, all right, so I have a follow-up question because my mouth is full. Like so many people out there, Jess and I are a big fan of the Housewives franchise. And I know that you know Rebecca Minkoff and Aaron, and you cook for them. Any dish, and see, there you guys. You guys are. Any dish about cooking for them that you want to spill here on the table?
Well, first of all, this is so funny that you asked me this. I love them. Becky and I, actually, we go back like over a decade of friendship, but they're great. They're fun. You know, they're great in the kitchen. Obviously, I show them a lot of the dishes that I know, and like they make the cocktails and I cook the food. You know, it works out.
The perfect
so
relationship.
you cook for them a lot, or?
No, we've cooked together. Yeah, Becky and I have
pretty
cooked
nice.
together many times because we really go back like a long way. But Aaron and I got together and we cook very similar styles, so we had a lot of fun in the
That makes
kitchen.
me happy.
Awesome.
So you brought another seasonal stunner that I'm very excited about because I love radishes and I love capers.
Yes.
But I've never had radishes and capers together.
And also sautéed.
And so, see, tell me everything about this dish.
We're sautéing. We're not just eating radishes raw anymore, okay? We're sautéing them. It really tastes good.
Was it?
I love radishes.
Taste raw.
You know what? I love a radish. I'll take them anyway, but this one kind of gives it a little bit more of like a steaky, meaty energy to it. Oh my gosh, this is literally the best reaction of life. And this is
so good.
Well, because it's poppy. Let me tell you, I cook it with capers, which another one of those cheat ingredients. It really packs flavor and punch. Like that is briny, salty heaven. And I also have dried lime here. So this is an ingredient that I've called for in this book. I use it several times.
Okay.
And it's limes that get dried in the sun, and they're like citrusy, and they have a smokiness to them, and they just add such a unique flavor. And cooking them with the radishes is the perfect starter to using this actual spice. It's fantastic.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, let's move on to our next one. We're talking about root steaks and chimichurri.
Chimichurri, so chimichurri, but I call it chimichurri because I do add a lot of chili in this. But this is a boss veg from my book, Tahini Baby. And a boss veg is basically like your centerpiece recipe. It will replace the chicken or the steak. It will like really, it's substantial, okay? We have some celeriac here. We have some watermelon radish. You cook it on low for a long time, and then you slice them and you finish them on a pan. They get steaky and delicious. Cover it with chimichurri, chili cherry, and then at the base, garlicky tahini, and you're golden. Like actually laughing.
This is so
good.
delicious.
Very good.
And so you mentioned this boss veg chapter where you're sort of making vegetables as the main dish, like in replacing like a chicken or a steak or what have you. So why did you want to do that? Tell us, give us tips on how to do that best.
You know what? I think for me, like, I think that's where people maybe get a little lost when it comes to putting a vegetarian spread out. They're looking for that centerpiece. They're looking for that star. And so for me, when it came time to actually creating my Boss Veg chapter for Tahini Baby, I wanted to really include dishes that were like, wow, that really packed a punch, that also included a lot of them have legumes in there, which makes it really filling. And also condiments. I'm a condiment girl. Like literally everything will have a condiment or a sauce, and I feel like it just elevates. So this definitely is the perfect example of a boss veg that you'll find in my blog.
I just want to thank you because a lot of the times, like maybe specialty ingredients for some of them, you include them in more than one dish.
Yes.
So it makes it feel good buying it. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that was what I did in my first book, Eating Out Loud, and for the second book, Tahini Baby, I wanted to make sure that when you bought it, you used it, and you got to know how it tasted.
We appreciate you so much, Eden. Thank you for coming here.
Thank you
This is
for having
amazing.
me. I love it here.
We love being fed by you. Now, Tahini Baby is available now, and everyone in our lucky studio audience is going home with their own copy.
So you gotta do the shimmy.
All right, after the break, summer festival to check out in Canada this year. We'll be right back. I did not know I had to be that quick.
Welcome back, everybody. Did you know that Canada is home to some of the most unique and multicultural festivals in the world?
No, we shouldn't be surprised, right? And it is not too late to check some of them out. So here with some of Canada's best summer festivals is travel expert Jennifer Weatherhead. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me, Jennifer. Okay, so let's dive right into the first festival that's actually happening this weekend. We're talking about the Great Canadian Cheese Festival. It's happening in Kingston, Ontario. Talk to us about this one.
So fitting because you guys just had some cheese. But I mean, if we're always traveling for food, I think traveling for cheese is even better, right? So we're gonna go to Ontario's first UNESCO World Heritage Site. This is Fort Henry in Kingston, and that's where this festival is taking place. So you get a little history with your cheese. It is a cheese lover's dream. We're talking 150 different types of cheese that you can sample. You can meet the cheesemakers while you're there. Now, you don't just have to eat cheese. There is a market where you can see some crafts, get some local beer and some drinks as well. And I really just love that Kingston is becoming known for being a food destination. They have some great restaurants there. So you can also do a food walking tour while you're there. They are also home to Ontario's first public market, so you can check that out as well.
Very cool.
So this is a great opportunity to plan out an entire food weekend.
Oh, I love this.
In
I had
Kingston,
no idea.
you wouldn't, that's great. I love that. Okay, next we're headed to Winnipeg. What is the Folklorama Festival? What do you do there?
Yes, okay, I have been to Winnipeg both in the winter and the summer, and I have to say that if you can go in the summer and experience Folklorama, even better. So this is the world's longest running multicultural festival of its kind. So it's a really cool feature that they have here. And it's so fun. It's running from August 3rd to the 16th. And what I love about it is that they have 35 pavilions, international pavilions, throughout the entire city. So you get to explore Winnipeg while checking out all these different cultures and trying different food, performances. It's really just a fun way to kind of dive into all of these different cultures and experience Winnipeg at the same time.
Yeah, and you're in Winnipeg and you're traveling the world. Like
Exactly.
That's great.
I love that.
I love that idea.
So where should we stay and what else should we do besides that festival in Winnipeg?
Yeah, so I think that Winnipeg is one of those underrated destinations in Canada. It's worth a long weekend vacation. They do have some beautiful hotels and historic buildings. So you have the Fort Garry, which may or may not be haunted. I'm gonna say based off of my stay, it might be haunted. It's a little scary. But you also have a very stylish hotel, the Alt Hotel, perfectly located. And then when it comes to things to do, we're so lucky to have the Canadian Museum of Human Rights in Winnipeg. Not only is this a stunning architectural building, but they have beautiful, interactive, engaging, educational exhibits there. You can spend an entire day. I think it's something that every Canadian, if you can go there, you definitely need to see this.
I've been there. I highly recommend it.
It's amazing, right?
Oh,
Incredible.
It's an incredible place. It's a
To
gem.
keep in theme with the beginning of the show, we're going to continue to give you, Alberta, lots of love. Calgary hosts Global Fest. What is this?
So I bet you didn't know that Calgary is the third most diverse city in Canada.
No.
It is, and they do celebrate this by having Global Fest. So this happens every August. It's been happening since 2003, and it's really a celebration of all the diversity that they have. So 20 different pavilions. You can see performances, dancing. We're talking about places like Hungary, Scotland, Vietnam, Morocco, Mexico, Turkey. You can try out so many different types of food. You get a little passport that you can stamp for each of the pavilions that you go to. Another really fun thing that I love is that they do a citizenship oath while you're there. So you can cheer on the new Canadians as they take their oath. I think that's a really cool thing and great way to celebrate it. And then, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but Calgary loves a good fireworks show. If you've been to the Stampede, you know, that's pretty spectacular. They do it again with this festival as well. Every night is a different nation that shows off with these amazing firework displays.
That's so very cool.
All right, so the next festival is a balloon festival that takes place in August. Are we talking about looking at balloons or are we getting in the balloons?
You can stay on the ground and look at the balloons.
Love that.
Keep it safe, right? So this is in the beautiful part of Quebec called Montargis. It's the largest international balloon festival in Canada. It's called the St. Jean-sur-Richelieu Balloon Festival. And again, you get to see these incredible balloons take off either early in the morning or in the evening. You can see them at sunset. They also have huge concerts that go along with this, so it's really fun for families as well. You can even camp if you're there too. And of course, Quebecois food, you can't go wrong.
Yeah. Right, all right. True. Let's go further east, speaking about food. Let's go to New Brunswick. What is it's called the Fundy Sea Shanty Festival.
I know, it's a little tongue twister. I really love this because if there's something that New Brunswick does really well, it's throw a party or a festival. They have so many during the summer, but I picked this one because I thought it was really cool. So the Fundy Sea Shanty Festival, it takes place in Fundy St. Martin, a little fishing village right next to the Bay of Fundy. It's all about celebrating the sailor culture and how sailors have affected and impacted the history in the area. So you're going to be singing along to some sea shanties, some East Coast music, some folk music. I mean, if you're drinking some craft beer, you might start to do a little bit of a jig while you're there as well.
It just happens, right? Yeah.
And of course, you have amazing food there too, seafood that you're going to want to try. And I also think New Brunswick is one of those places that you don't hear a lot about. But if you go there in the summer, I guarantee you're going to be going back every summer after because it's such a magical place.
Nice.
Well, you know what? As everyone's kind of looking to figure out what are we doing this summer, because we want to perhaps explore more of our own borders, these are great recommendations. So Jennifer, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So cool. Okay, this is a segment to be saved. Let's take a break. We'll be back right after this.
This season, we're pulling out all the stops.
Oh gosh, you guys are pumped. I love it.
And that means we need you.
I think there's bound to be some strong opinions on this next topic.
Chime in on what's trending live from our studio audience.
We had our first audience sign.
I've spent a lot of time on my sofa at home with a cup of tea in my pajamas arguing with these ladies.
When we're together, it's gonna be a good time. Scan the QR code now and get your tickets for The Social. There's never a dull moment at The Social.
We are going to have one heck of a time.
With hot takes and fiery debates.
I'm too old for Leonardo DiCaprio anyway.
We dive headfirst into juicy conversations.
Where are his wild oats now?
No topic is too messy.
I'm gonna blame all of the boyfriends that I've had.
No discussion too heated.
That is an invasion, in my opinion.
We break it down and stir it up.
Is that a red flag?
Just real talk and fresh opinions. Unfiltered.
It's hard.
Unexpected.
This conversation has changed significantly.
And always entertaining.
Are you guys having a good time?
Watch The Social, weekdays at 2 p.m. on CTV.
We have no fun here at all, it's true. Tomorrow on The Social, Summer House fans, we want to listen up. Breakout star Lexi Wood is going to be here to dish on the show. Also, Canadian actress Miku Martineau is going to be here telling us about starring in the new manga-inspired live-action series called Bet. Farah Nasser, we always love having you here on the panel. Thank you for being back. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Listen, if you missed the show or you want to rewatch it, catch us on Crave. We want to tell everybody we are streaming on Crave. We're also on YouTube, and we have the podcast on the iHeartRadio app as well. Did you all have a good time? Thank you so much for being here. It's a way to kick off a week. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Bye-bye.